The Titan Tech Tower pierced the city's skyline like a gleaming blade, its glass facade catching the morning sun and scattering it into 1,000 diamond reflections over the financial district. Inside, power moved quietly behind soundproof doors and tinted windows, and Eva Coleman moved quietly, too. She was a ghost in a gray uniform, her sneakers silent against the polished marble floors of the 60th floor executive suite. Every morning, she polished the long mahogany boardroom table, arranged crystal water glasses in perfect symmetry, and emptied trash bins that rarely had more than a crumpled memo inside. In another life, Eva had dreamed of being on the other side of that table, briefcase in hand, speaking in crisp legal language, signing deals instead of wiping coffee rings. But dreams didn't pay rent. She ran the cloth over the smooth wood in small, practiced circles, thinking about nothing, just as she had learned. Eyes down, speak only when spoken to. Be useful, be forgettable. Window streaks, again. The voice sliced through the silence like a paper cut. Eva looked up. Richard Carlton, CEO of Titan Tech, towered over her in a perfect charcoal suit. 6'2", silver-streaked hair, a jawline that belonged in a luxury watch ad. He didn't see her as a person. She was a moving piece of furniture. An extension of her cleaning supplies. "I'll take care of it right away." "Mr. Carlton," Eva said, keeping her face neutral. He barely glanced at her as he strode across the room, tossing a thick folder onto his desk. A few pages slid to the floor, fluttering at her feet. "And clean that up," he added, already looking at his phone. "The Halvix team will be here in an hour. Everything needs to be perfect."
"Yes, sir."
Eva knelt and gathered the papers, careful not to bend a corner. Legal language spilled across the pages, words she once loved, now reduced to memories of a life she'd lost. Then she saw something that froze her, a hand mid-motion, a clause in the merger contract. Intellectual property transfer. Her brow creased. The phrasing felt off, like a puzzle piece jammed where it didn't belong. Before Titan Tech, she'd worked as a legal assistant at Marshall & Brooks, one of the city's top corporate firms. She'd drafted dozens of contracts like this, and this clause. It felt wrong. A memory surfaced, Thomas Marshall's warm hand on her shoulder, years ago. Most people wouldn't have caught that discrepancy in the sublicensing clause, he'd said. "You see what others miss, Eva. That's why you'll make an excellent lawyer someday." Then Richard's voice snapped her back. "Today? Not. Tomorrow?" Eva quickly stacked the papers and placed them neatly on his desk, her mind spinning. A tiny inconsistency in the document number 1 page ended in B, while the rest ended in a subtle but in high-stakes contracts. Small errors were rarely accidents. The elevator chimed, announcing the arrival of Titan Tech's head of security, Julian Parker. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with cropped black hair, one of the few who treated Eva like a human being. "All clear." "Mr. Carlton," Julian said, stepping aside to let the Halvix team enter. Grant Holloway led the pack, tall, expensively dressed, a smile that never touched his calculating eyes. Behind him trailed 3 associates, all carrying sleek black portfolios. Richard, Grant said warmly, arms spread wide. "The day has finally come." Richard grinned, extending a hand. "The press is already calling this the merger of the decade." "Rightfully so," Grant said, taking a seat at the polished table. "Titan Tech's hardware, Halvix's software. Together, we're going to rewrite the rules." Eva drifted toward the windows, spray bottle in hand, invisible but listening. Something about Grant made her skin prickle. His warmth felt rehearsed, his glances too sharp, like a predator scanning for weakness. The meeting stretched for an hour. Eva floated from window to table to trash bin, listening without appearing to. Integration will be seamless. We've already begun internal alignment. By the time the ink is dry, we'll be halfway there. Eva's eyes flicked to the contract spread. On the table, there it was again, version inconsistencies in the footer. Page 12 had different formatting than the rest. Most people would miss it. Eva didn't. She hesitated. Then, softly, "Excuse me, Mr. Carlton. There's a formatting discrepancy on page 12. The room froze. Richard turned to her like a potted plant had just spoken. "You're a maid," he said flatly. "Don't play lawyer." Grant's smile wavered for just a heartbeat. A flicker of something concern. Recognition. Before his mask returned, Eva lowered her gaze. "I apologize. I'll bring in fresh water." She retreated to the kitchen, cheeks burning, as laughter rippled behind her. That night, Eva took a detour before heading home. The document processing room on the maintenance level was quiet, its fluorescent lights buzzing softly. She went straight to the industrial shredder. Earlier, she'd seen Richard's assistant, Emily, dump a stack of papers there. Inside the bin, most were shredded. But a few sheets had jammed. Eva carefully pulled them free and laid them on the table. Her heart thud. Two versions of the same contract section. One with the IP clause intact, the other with the clause missing. Richard signed the wrong version. Titan Tech would lose its technology. She snapped photos with her phone and tore off a small piece of the altered page as physical proof, tucking it into her pocket. The door creaked. "What are you doing in here?" Eva spun around. Emily stood in the doorway, frowning. "Just emptying trash," Eva said calmly, gesturing to her cart. Emily hesitated, then nodded. "Well, hurry up. I'm setting the alarm in 5. When she left, Eva slipped the papers back into the shredder, mixing them with the other scraps. The fragment in her pocket felt like it was burning her skin. The next night, Titan Tech's executive dining hall glittered under soft golden light. Crystal glasses, silver utensils, napkins folded like origami. Eva moved between tables, invisible, as always, but her mind was razor sharp, listening. From the anteroom, Grant Holloway's voice drifted. "By this time tomorrow, we'll own the software rights before they even realize it." The beauty of hiding things in legal language, another voice murmured. "And Carlton," Grant chuckled, "the man's ego is our greatest ally. He wants the headline, the glory. He's signing whatever we put in front of him." Eva's chest tightened. She had been right. Coleman? She flinched. Julian stood in the doorway, expression serious. "Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Can we talk privately?" In the small break room, Julian leaned close. "I found something," he said. "In the archives. An old Halvix laptop, password protected. I thought maybe you could crack it." Eva hesitated. "If we get caught, you've already risked everything once," Julian said. "I trust your instincts." That night, in her tiny apartment, Eva booted up the laptop. She tried a few obvious passwords. Nothing. Then she remembered something. Grant had said at dinner, "Project Takeover is right on schedule." She typed it in. The screen unlocked. Inside was a hidden folder, PT emails. Dozens of them. Plans, timelines, proof. Make sure. Version B is the one that makes it to the signing table. Version A is insurance only. Eva covered her mouth, heart racing. This wasn't a merger. It was theft. The next morning, Eva timed her cleaning route to intercept Patricia Townsend. Titan text coup. "Miss Townsend," she said quietly. "I need to speak with you. It's important." Patricia studied her for a moment, then gestured to a chair. Eva laid out the photos, the fragment, and the emails. Patricia read in silence, her sharp eyes narrowing. "Eva," she said finally, "if you're wrong, this could destroy you." Eva met her gaze. "If I'm right, it saves Titan Tech." Patricia exhaled slowly. Then let's make sure the right contract gets signed. The executive dining hall gleamed with perfection. Every tablecloth smoothed, every champagne flute polished. The entire top floor of Titan Tech Tower hummed with anticipation for the merger celebration dinner. Eva moved silently among the tables, setting silverware with military precision. Her uniform was the same dull gray as always, but inside. She was coiled like a spring dot. The memory of Grant Holloway's voice haunted her. By this time tomorrow, we'll own the software rights before they even realize it. And the emails on the Halvik's laptop confirmed it. This merger was a hostile takeover in disguise. She glanced toward the hall, where the Halvik's team mingled with Titan Tech executives, all smiles and handshakes. They were wolves in tailored suits, and Richard Carlton was walking straight into their jaws. Eva. She turned to see Patricia Townsend step into the room. Her gray-streaked hair immaculate, glasses gleaming under the chandelier light. Behind her were two senior legal advisors. Patricia caught Eva's eye and gave the faintest nod. Eva's chest tightened. She believed me. The next day, the press conference buzzed like a hornet's nest. Dozens of journalists crowded the top-floor conference, room cameras flashing against the glass walls. Banners with Titan Tech x Halvik's stretched behind a long table where the executives sat. Eva hovered in the back with a tray of sparkling water. She might as well have been invisible, but that invisibility was her shield. Grant Holloway's smooth voice carried across the room. Today marks the beginning of a partnership that will change the tech industry forever. He gestured to Richard Carlton, who smiled for the cameras, pen in hand. He didn't even glance at the stack of contracts laid before him. Eva's pulse pounded in her ears. "Don't sign. Please don't sign," Richard Grant said with a flourish. "Shall we make it official?" Before the pen touched paper, Patricia's voice cut through the murmur like a knife. "Richard, wait." The room went silent. Cameras clicked, lenses zoomed. Richard blinked, irritation flickering across his handsome face. "Patricia, what is it now?" Patricia strode to the table, a folder in hand. Her tone was steady but cold. "We need to confirm which contract version you're about to sign." Grant's smile faltered for the first time. "Patricia, this is highly irregular, not as irregular as discovering two different versions of the same agreement." The journalists erupted. In whispers, microphones thrust forward. Richard frowned. "What are you talking about?" Patricia laid out the evidence. Photographs of the mismatched contract pages, a copy of the critical IP clause email printouts from the Halvik's laptop, complete with timestamps and internal addresses. "This," Patricia said clearly, "is a hostile takeover attempt. If you sign this version, Titan Tech will lose its core technology to Halvik's permanently." Gasps rippled through the room. Grant's mask cracked. He leaned forward, his voice sharp. "This is absurd. She has no proof this wasn't fabricated by your own staff." Patricia's lips curved into a thin smile. "We have server logs, IP, tracking, and a physical fragment of your altered contract. Would you like me to read the email where you instructed your team to swap version B at the signing table?" In that moment, Julian Parker entered with two security officers. A tear. Presence silenced the murmurs. Richard Carlton's expression hardened as he looked from the evidence to Grant. "Get them out of my building." Security advanced, and Grant Holloway finally stood, his tailored suit no longer projecting control. "This isn't over," he muttered, locking eyes with Eva for a heartbeat. His gaze was a blade cold, promising. Then he and his team were escorted to the elevators, cameras flashing with every step. The fallout was instantaneous that evening. Business news outlets and social media exploded. Halvik's executives ejected from Titan Tech amid fraud allegations. Merger of the decade turns to corporate scandal. Anonymous employee saves Titan Tech from $100 million. Disaster. Eva sat in the break room, hands trembling around a paper cup of tea. She could still feel the heat of Grant's glare. Still hear the click of cameras capturing the exact moment her secret world collided with the public one. The door opened, and Patricia stepped in holding a slim envelope. Eva rose quickly. "Yes, ma'am." Patricia approached, her heels clicking softly against the tile. "I thought you should know the board has been informed of your role in stopping this." "Richard? Well, let's just say he's been humbled." Eva blinked, unsure how to respond. "You're being offered a new position," Patricia continued. "Compliance and risk analyst. You'll work with legal and security to prevent this from ever happening again." Eva stared at her. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Patricia said, with a hint of a smile. Titan Tech needs people who see what others miss. The next morning, Eva returned to the tower as if stepping into another life. Security guards nodded too. Her employees whispered her name. Even Richard Carlton, passing in the hall, paused long enough to offer a stiff nod of acknowledgement. She spent the day with Julian in the Security Operations Center, piecing together the timeline of Halvik's infiltration. "Look at this," Julian said, gesturing to a screen of access logs. "The night before the meeting, someone tried to disable cameras on the 23rd floor." Eva leaned closer. "Did they succeed?" "Partially, but I keep a secondary backup. And guess what?" He pulled up grainy footage. There was Emily, Richard's assistant, handing an envelope to Grant Holloway in the dead of night. Eva's stomach sank. She was in on it? Julian nodded grimly. "Guess loyalty has a price tag." That afternoon, the boardroom filled with hushed voices as Emily was escorted in by security. Her eyes were red, her hands shaking. Richard's voice was cold. "Emily, we trusted you. Is there anything you'd like to say before we call the authorities?" I didn't know they were going to steal everything," she stammered. He said it was just a formatting change. Patricia cut her off, voice like ice. "You were in the building at 3 a.m., passing secret documents to a rival. You knew what you were doing." Emily's sobs echoed in the glass chamber as security led her away. Eva felt a strange mix of emotions and pity and relief. One more piece of the threat was gone. That night, Eva left the tower under the city's glowing skyline. Her new ID badge felt heavier in her pocket than the old janitorial key ever had. She stopped at a crosswalk and looked up at the glittering Titan Tech tower. For the first time in years, she felt like she belonged. Then her phone buzzed. A text. Message from an unknown number. "Enjoy your moment, Eva. We're not finished." A chill ran through her blood. The message haunted Eva all night. "Enjoy your moment, Eva. We're not finished." She barely slept. Every creak in her tiny apartment, every passing car's headlights made her heart leap. By morning, her exhaustion was hidden under a blazer. Instead of a gray uniform, her first day as Titan Tech's compliance and risk analyst. But the pride of her promotion was already shadowed by fear by midday. The smear campaign began. An email, anonymous but clearly planted, hit the inboxes of dozens of Titan Tech employees. Screenshots claimed to show Eva falsifying evidence against Halvik's. The message accused her of being an opportunist, a disgruntled former employee trying to sabotage the company for personal gain. Julian appeared at her cubicle, holding his tablet. Saw this? Eva's stomach twisted. "Yes, it's fake. They're trying to ruin me." "We'll trace the source," Julian said, his voice firm. This reeks of Halvik's desperation. But even with his reassurance, Eva saw the way some employees looked at her in the halls. Doubt spread fast, and Grant Holloway knew it. That night, as Eva left the building, the loading dock felt different. Quiet. Too quiet. a sound. Behind her, a soft scrape of shoe on concrete. She turned. No one. Eva swallowed hard and gripped her bag tighter, moving faster toward the street. Then a hand clamped over her mouth. Her scream was muffled as she was dragged behind a delivery truck, the city sounds swallowed by the enclosed space. Relax. Eva, a familiar voice whispered Grant Holloway. Her pulse thundered in her ears. You cost me everything, he said, his tone controlled but venomous. My career, my reputation, my company's future. Do you have any idea what I'm going to do to make this right? Eva forced herself to stay calm. If you hurt me, every camera in this building will already disabled, he cut in, smirking. Your new boyfriend in security can't save you this time. From the shadows, Emily stepped forward, eyes red but burning with resentment. You? Ruined my life too, she hissed. I had a future with Halvix after this deal. Now I have nothing. Eva's mind raced. Think. Stay alive. You're desperate, she said carefully. If you lay a hand on me, you'll never fix this. You'll go to prison. Grant tilted his head, studying her like a puzzle. Or I can make this look like an accident. A mugging. Wrong place, wrong time. Then a metallic click echoed. Through the dock, Julian stepped out from behind a forklift, gun in hand, his expression grim. Let her go, Holloway. Grant froze, calculating. You wouldn't dare, he said slowly. Julian's tone was ice. Try me. Emily took a shaky step back, suddenly unsure. Eva seized her chance, stomping on Grant's foot and wrenching free. She sprinted toward Julian. As he grabbed her hand, keeping his weapon trained. Security backup is on the way, he said, voice calm but tight. Walk away, Grant. This is over. Grant's face contorted with rage, but he saw the flashing lights of approaching security. Carts, and made his choice. He disappeared into the shadows, Emily scrambling after him. The police report that night was clear. Halvix executives under investigation for corporate fraud and conspiracy. Emily charged with obstruction of justice and corporate theft, Grant. Holloway, now officially a fugitive Titan Tech's board, immediately increased Eva's security clearance. She was moved to a safer apartment, and Julian arranged a rotating guard schedule until the threat passed. Weeks passed, Eva buried herself in her new role auditing contracts, verifying compliance, ensuring Titan Tech would never be blindsided again. She thrived in the quiet, methodical work, finally using the skills she'd been forced to hide for years. Then, one morning, Patricia Townsend stopped by her office. You've done remarkable work, Eva, she said warmly. The board is thrilled, and, Richort may never say this out loud, but you saved this company. Eva smiled faintly. I was just in the right place at the right time. Patricia's eyes softened. You saw what others didn't. Don't ever diminish that again. But Halvix wasn't gone. Reports trickled in offshore shell companies, encrypted communications, rumors of Grant Holloway rebuilding in the shadows. Eva read every one. She knew this wasn't finished. One night, as she left the building, she paused to look up at the Titan Tech tower gleaming against the night sky. Once she had been invisible here, a ghost wiping fingerprints from glass. Now she was part of its skeleton, its watchful eyes. Its shield, her phone buzzed with a notification from Julian. New intel on Halvix. Need an ops tomorrow. We're ready for the next move. Eva's lips curved into the smallest smile. The world might still underestimate her. Let them. Because in a city of power players and predators, the invisible girl had become the most dangerous one of all.